My name is Dr. Ruthie, or Dr. Ruth Newstifter, if you really want to try and say my last name. I'm a professional sexuality educator. You can find more about me over at exploringintimacy.com, but today I'm here thanks to the great folks at funwares.com who make it possible for me to answer your great questions on sex and relationships and unique sexual activities, as we're about to talk about today. If you want to send me a question, you sure can at AskDrRuathie at funwares.com, AskDrRuthie at funwares.com, or you can send me a tweet if it's a short question at Dr. Ruthie, DrRuthie. All right, folks, hold on to your socks. We got a good question for you. For some of you, you'll be like, this is nothing. I talk about this all the time. And for others of you, you may be thinking, what is this new activity? Hello, I wanted to ask you, what is your take on urethral insertion? If it is done slowly in a painless way, well, some light pain is to be expected, with the object that is disinfected and then cleaned under the water, not touching it with fingers to remove any potentially toxic substances in the disinfection solution, and one that is used for hand disinfection in hospitals. Using organic coconut oil for lubricant, it has disinfection properties by itself. Is it generally considered too dangerous? Have a nice day. Signed a guy whose name I won't say out loud. So, all right, here we go. So whenever I get a question with this level of detail, I kind of assume you're already doing it anyway. So I'm going to approach it with that assumption. If I'm incorrect, you can write back and let me know. But first, let's make sure that everybody watching this video is up to speed. What is urethral insertion, and why am I talking about it in this general video? Well, it's actually a lot more common than people would guess. And it is pretty much exactly what it sounds like. Generally, it's people with a penis who do this activity, although I'm sure, you know, that I have met women who do this as well. But it is generally more men who do this, and it is literally putting something inside the urethra for stimulation, usually something small. And why would people do this? Well, there's a really good reason why. For some folks, it feels really good. It turns out that there's some nerves at the opening of the urethra that are stimulated by insertion. You know, it depends on whether you like the idea and how you go about it and your body and all sorts of different things. So, it's up to you whether it's something you like or want to try or not. Now, what I will say is that this is a higher risk of physical harm activity than most of the other things that I talk about here. And so to be aware of that, because it's very sensitive tissue inside there, of course. If there's any kind of damage or harm, it's harder to get in there and fix it. It's more about kind of letting it heal itself unless you've really done something terrible. And we have to be really careful about infection and about damage for anything that goes up the urethra ways, because it can harm the bladder and lots of sensitive muscles and all sorts of things in there. So this is a very delicate sort of situation that you are talking about here, and it definitely inherently carries higher risk. Now, I am not a physician, nor am I the world's foremost expert on urethral insertion, so I had to get a little extra information about this before coming back to you with some generalized tips. And basically, a couple of things were suggested. First of all, know that a lot of people who do this are just like, they're ashamed, they're embarrassed, they're like just trying to try this thing that they don't want anyone to know that they do, so they grab household items like Q-tips and things like that and try it with that. Not a good idea. If this is something that you are really sincerely interested in trying, because it's a higher risk activity, you really need to invest in learning how to do this appropriately. While I am not the world's foremost expert on the topic, believe it or not, there are other people who do know this topic very well. It shouldn't be a big surprise, since a lot of people explore with it. In fact, if you talk to any emergency room nurse or doctor who has been there for a while, they've probably at least encountered some children who have tried this and possibly lost something up their urethra. So yeah, it is something people experiment with. So what you want to do is find some folks who can really teach you how to do this safely and well. All the better if they also happen to have a bit of a medical background. And where would you find people like that? Well, there's a whole kink community out there of folks who like to try to do things that are a little more creative, a little more original, and sometimes a little higher risk. And people in those communities teach classes. So what you would want to do is spend a little time on the internet finding some folks who teach classes in this topic, or if you're someone else watching this video and you have an interest in something that's a little higher risk, whatever higher risk activity it is that you're interested in, probably there's other people out there doing it, and probably there's some reliable classes that you can take in how to do this activity safely. In fact, I know of several instructors who teach on this particular topic. They will teach you how to sanitize properly and what choices of lubricants that you can use. Of course, you want things to be clean, you want things to be smooth, you want things to be made in such a way that they're made for this sort of activity. There actually are urethral sounding kits out there that you can buy that were originally created for the medical community, something that can't slide into your urethra too far or get lost in there, and it's nice and smooth. And of course they can guide you on different disinfecting and things. So my point for this is that people do it. I assume you're already doing it. What you need to do is invest in the time of contacting someone who specializes this, take a class, read their books, hire them as a consultant to learn how to do your specialized higher risk kinky activity, and that way you can do it as safely as possible and have fun with it. There's no sexual activity that's always going to be safe. There just isn't, no matter what you do. People even hurt themselves masturbating, right? But, taking responsibility for really learning about it and making sure that you're doing it with the right kind of equipment, with techniques that you have learned from people who know what they're doing is important. The other thing I'm going to say is invest in finding yourself a doctor, your general practitioner, family doctor, who is okay with you doing kinky stuff. I know this sounds kind of scary, but what you need to do is actually talk with your physician and find out if they are okay, with working with clients on these sorts of topics. Because if you can advise your physician that you do this ahead of time, if something ever goes wrong or you have a question, you can come to them and feel comfortably being honest with them, and they'll know what you engage in and the level of preparedness you take so that they can help you better. It sounds maybe difficult to do that, but these are the people we trust to take care of our bodies, and if we can't be honest with them about what we do, then it's time to find another doctor and also work on how we can have those conversations with her or him. I'm Dr. Ruthie. Have fun, be safe, and I will see you at the next video.